Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. We're going hard with a hard mode run on random. You wouldn't give me 2 Eden randoms in a row. What kind of backwards RNG world do we live with? Actually, randomness means that you're just as likely to get the same person twice in a row as to get any other character. Well, yes, but not all other characters, okay? F4MG AP9W. Yo. Wish I had that Horf pill back, but statistically this run's good. I'm feeling good. Last run was spotty, but... Oh, is that a... It is! A golden key, and we didn't even get hit. Oh my god, what is happening? Not an XL floor. We've done it. Everything's going just fine. It looked like... I should have done that way earlier. It looked briefly like we might be in the running to lose our last run, but that changed pretty quickly with the Curse of the Blind Mom's Knife. Turns out Mom's Knife still very, very good. And I'm feeling like, I don't want to say it's the start of a new streak, but welcome to the new age. Oh. Sorry, that's a callback for the people that were watching the last episode just before this one. I know some people, I mean, I'm not going to say that they're not super fans, but apparently Isaac isn't the most important thing in their life. They do other things except for watching me play this game. And, you know, I mean, it's insulting for me personally as somebody that wishes to seep into every pore of their existence with my content. But I understand that, you know, you can't always watch every episode immediately right away 4 times, share it with your friends, etc., etc. I mean, sometimes the Game Grumps have published an episode recently, and, you know, you gotta, you know, stand that instead. I understand. Now, I'm making a list and I'm checking it twice, but I understand. You get the idea. I was talking in the last episode, you know, what's my favorite part of the week? And I came to the realistic conclusion that for me, it's a Saturday morning. I think Friday night and Saturday morning are like the #1 times. For most people. You know, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. But it also begs the question, what's the least favorite part of the week? Oh, 1 second. I got to open up this door. Give me a moment. Hello. Oh. You ever spook somebody so hard they drop their magazine? That's a question for another day. Alright, I do still wish we had Flush active here. Sadly, no such luck. You know, we're getting this weird, like, Isaac, synesthesia. Where, like, I'm thinking of the items that we have as if they're the mechanics from 4 Souls. It's very strange to me that I'm thinking Flush is a good, card. Or sorry, I'm thinking Flush is a good item because it's a decent card in 4 Souls. Hey Kate, what's your review of the Binding of Isaac 4 Souls? Your review. You know, you can give it a rating out of 5, a rating out of 10 if you...
Can I give 3 tomos out of 5?
3 tomos out of 5?
Yeah.
Dude, she drives a hard bargain. I mean, every tomo was worth at least 4 stars. So that's 12 stars out of 5, but still. I'm inclined to give it 4 Rukas out of 5.
Whoa! I didn't know we can bring Rukas in the game system.
But what's worth more? 3 tomos or 4 Rukas?
4 Rukas.
Wrong. Each one of them is worth infinity. So you can't get higher than infinity. So they're both the same. He's done it again. The verbal gymnastics. Ruka! Okay. Anyway, we played Tabletop Sim 4 Souls. I know it's not officially licensed. I know, it's in kind of that weird gray area. All I'm going to say is when we played 4 Souls on... when we played Tabletop Simulator and played Scrabble, nobody batted a freaking eye. I did get a couple of comments after we played 4 Souls in Tabletop Sim where people were like, is it cool to play this? And I was like, all right. Maybe not, but I think it's okay. It's been up long enough that I figure if Ed thought it was negative towards his game, he would take it down. Anyway, you get the idea. I don't think you should play it on Tabletop Sim instead of buying it. I think you should buy it and then digitally if you want to play it on Tabletop Sim. I mean, I can't say that I endorse that. I'm just saying it's a potential use case, legally speaking. Okay. Good tiers upgrade. Anyway, I enjoy that game. I think it's very good. But it has changed my evaluation of some of these items. Because Flush is pretty good in that game. And in this game, I mean, it is helping me out. I can't say that it's a bad time, but it's the only thing that could have made things more confusing for me, is to now have two different, you know, Isaacs in my brain, where I have to remember what item is between each one. Now, I'm not going to blame the loss of the streak on that. I think that would be a little bit dishonest. Probably the appropriate word. Whoop. What's the worst time of the week, though? We never finished this conversation from earlier. You're very right. Thanks for getting me back on track. I don't know. I think there's a couple of different lines of reasoning that one could broach here. A lot of people are going to say Monday morning, and I think I would be inclined to agree. The reason, you know, you might think that if you don't have a traditional job, what's a Monday morning versus you know, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, etc., etc. Well, you're not wrong. You know, there is a certain element of that. But, you know, the reason I dislike Monday morning is because on Mondays, you know, that's the peak day, I think, for real-world business to take place. You know, business that people want to take care of on a weekly basis. They want to reply by Wednesday. They're going to be sending you the email by Monday, probably. So Monday at 9 a.m. is like, you know how there's potential energy and kinetic energy? Potential business is at its highest. And I'm not a businessman. I'm like a reluctant businessman. Let me handle my business, but Monday through Friday only, please. So that's you're at peak potential business. And then on like Wednesday or Thursday, you hit peak kinetic business. Because who wants to try to accomplish something on a Friday, you know? Friday is almost Saturday. Saturday's almost Sunday, the day of rest. You can't be expected to get anything done on a Wednesday. Are you crazy? It's too close to the weekend. Call me next Monday. I also have to base it on streams. And, you know, I don't want to insult anybody that I work with. But every day has a different flavor for streams as well. You know? Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, NLSS. Tuesday, you get the Team Unity. A little bit more of a free-form solo stream to begin with. And, you know, usually some Smashed Brothers. Might as well pop 2 of hearts, I guess. Friday. I mean, I like Friday. Friday is just a good day all around. Because I don't stream on Friday, you know, you gotta understand that live content, it's a little bit, it's kinetic, you know? It's energetic, it's lively. It's a living being, you know? It flows with the chat, and the chat flows back off of it. Which is why, you know, it's really nice, but also simultaneously, sometimes it's nice to just record a bunch of videos and not stream on a given day, because it means if I say something horrifying by accident, I can just delete the video. Now, that only happens once every other recording session, so we have nothing to worry about here. I kid. I don't hold controversial opinions publicly. Excuse me. I wanted to kill that spider, dude. It's a very, like, slightly above average but climbing run right now. You know, we got a guppy item, good, but it's not a guppy item that gives us much immediate benefit, probably. We got decent DPS, that's good, but nothing that really, you know, flies off the page and makes us, you know, feel like we're doing amazingly right now. Speaking of flying off the page, you might be asking, NL, what have you been reading lately? You know, there's only so much space in a young man's life, and I think, you know, just saying the phrase jumps off the page has reminded me, haven't done any reading in like a week and a half here ever since I finished Slaughterhouse 5. So I'm on the lookout for something new. But I think, you know, temporarily I replaced a little bit of reading inertia with trying to get sick trapezius muscles so I can cosplay as Brock Lesnar in 3 Halloweens. Not that that makes any sense, because I tend to do one in the morning and one at night. Yeah, anyway, you get the idea. I'm looking for more short novels. Mostly so that I have answers to Jeopardy questions. You're like, is he joking? No, I'm not joking. Not whatsoever. I'm just feeling like this run's good. There's a good metaphor in here somewhere about, like, the culinary world. Sure, I think we will go prayer cards so we have a little bit more gas for offensive deals with the devil, which we already have precedent for. You know, this is like, right now this run is like an above average hamburger or something like that, you know? Is a hamburger anybody's favorite food? Yeah, but it's probably, I mean, it's actually a pretty bad example because it's probably like in the top 10. Like in North America, I would say probably the #1 favorite food is pizza. I actually don't know where you'd go from there. Probably I would say maybe cheeseburgers even have a chance to be #2. You know what? This is a great question. North America favorite food. American food, the 50 greatest dishes from CNN. Is this ranked? No. I mean, it's ranked, but it's not in a poll. Come on. Top 10 America's favorite foods. Consumed by the majority of most Americans. Okay, let me hit you with this. #1. Is this in order? Yes. Hamburgers. An average American consumes 3 hamburgers per week. Oh my god, it actually says... It's like what you make fun of infographics for saying. 13 billion hamburgers are enough to circle the earth 32 times, which Americans eat in a year. Oh my god, the Americans eat 32 Earths a year? They have to be stopped. I'm done with that page, okay? That page was not doing it for me. It was triggering a real, you know, scientist smugness inside of me. Is it so hard to just have demographic data? I'm always getting called for these surveys, and then, you know, hey, Mr. Letourneau, do you have time to complete a survey? Yeah, I guess I got a minute. Oh, thank you so much for your incredibly gracious... You don't need to say that. It's a little patronizing, okay? And then they go, are you happy with your cable service? And I go, this is a sales call, you son of a gun. I would be so happy if I received a call, and on the other end, somebody was like, what's your favorite color? That's why I was stoked when Canada got the census back. You know, I've always wanted... I love filling out a personality test that also helps my government figure out where to put the tax money, right? But instead, I got the short form census. It was like, what's your name? What languages do you speak in your home? How old are you? And I was like, really? That's what I've been waiting, you know, until the age of majority for? Is for all this data that the government definitely already has on me because they work with Facebook? Seems like a waste of everybody's time. This run is like a hamburger, you know, or a hot dog maybe is a better example, because I don't think anybody, that's my friend there, hello. I don't think anybody's favorite food is hot dogs. Not, when I say not anybody, I mean like an insignificant portion of the population, you know, like under 1 in 100 people's favorite food is probably hot dogs. Under 100 adults, let's say. This run's a really good hot dog. You're like, dude, I'm nourished, it tastes good. It's helping me meet the challenges of the day, and I definitely think it could be a good amuse-bouche for what comes later. However, you know, am I going to tell my kids about this above-average hot dog I ate? Am I going to make a thumbnail for this one that, you know, is Isaac with red laser eyes, saying, you know, target acquired? Absolutely not. This run, it's going to have a name like, you know, Satisfactory or something like that. It's not going to have a name like, you know, Bombastic. It's just where it is right now. It's just a perfectly normal run. It's the meat bill of Isaac runs. You can substitute any movie of your choice in there if you're interested. I just tried to pick a very forgettable film. I think, by the way, and I think about this a lot, because whenever, you know, we are more likely to bring up great media on, like, the NLSS, for example, than we are to bring up average media. So you end up with these situations. We were talking about it with John Wick yesterday. I wasn't aware that I had surrounded myself by curmudgeons, you know? For me, John Wick 1 is a 9 out of 10 action movie. John Wick 2 is a 9 out of 10 action movie. I like the second one a little bit more than the original. People in chat and also in the call were like, John Wick 1 is like a 9. John Wick 2 is like a 4. Don't shoot the messenger. They said it, not me. And I said, you know, I did the classic internet thing. Oh, imagine thinking blah, blah. But anyway, where was I going with this? Well, what I was going to say is that, like, a lot of people in chat were like, I agree, you know. John Wick 1 was really good. John Wick 2 was kind of like, a little meh. But I don't think people out there consistently watch bad and meh movies, and it totally throws off their value judgments, okay? For like 5 years, the only movies I actively watched were masterpieces and the worst pieces of garbage ever made. I'm talking about, you know, The Room, of course, Neil Breen's movies, all the MST3K stuff, Alone in the Dark and the rest of the cursed Uwe Boll Ovra, you know, all that stuff. Troll 2, dozens and dozens of times. I actively sought that out. Hold on, The Soul is very good. What do we have in here? We don't know? Mom's Purse? I mean, at least we got the transformation, but even that's not worth very much. So when I give a movie like a 6, that's a good rating. Because I've seen a lot of 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. And it's better than all of them, in my opinion. If I give a movie a 9, if anything, I haven't seen enough good movies to know what a 9 and a 10 are. Still need to watch Shawshank Redemption, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you know. I mean, you could insert any number here that you wanted to. Any Alfred Hitchcock movie, you know. Any Orson Welles movie. But I have seen Federico Fellini's 8.5, and I would give it an 8.5. Personally, not quite as good as Spider-Man 2, in my opinion. Sorry, that's my impression of me. Polydactyly. Oh, we're going to go real hard on this one. Guppy's Paw, The Nail, Lilbrem. I don't think we need the Spirit Hearts. I mean, at this point, we'll go with The Nail, actually, now that I think about it, just because we're already generating enough red hearts to facilitate our deal with the devil gluttony, but... And let's immediately try something like this. You come in here, pop it open, grab all this, then Emperor card out. I'm just saying. There's room for differences of opinion, but the same thing came up. I'll stand by it for now. I haven't seen every movie that came out in 2018. What's my favorite 2018 movie? Still probably Hereditary. I liked it a lot. Stuck with me. Some people, I think it also depends, like, when you watched it. Like, did you watch it pre-backlash or post-backlash? Because there's always, and I understand it, there's always a backlash to everything that gets a lot of hype. Because it goes from being like, if there was no hype and you thought it was okay, you would be like, oh, that was okay. But because everybody else is saying it's amazing, if you only think it's okay, all of a sudden you're in the counterculture position. You got the chance to be the CBGB of needlessly contrarian movie critics. I thought it was alright, but, I mean, people are hyping up Toni Collette for Oscars. How are they going to fit her in there if they also fit in the entire cast of The Favorite by Yorgos Lanthimos? Right now, there's one person watching this that's like, oh my god, he's speaking right to me. Mystery Egg. Please get that foul language off my screen before Google DeepMind sees it. I would like to visit the shop, please. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, well, whenever I talk about Hereditary, there's always, some people are like, it was good, and that's fine. And some people are like, it was bad, and I'm like, that's fine too. Then some people just say, like, Hereditary was like a 3 out of 10. And I'm like, how do you... Like, I can fathom the situation, you know, in which we disagree on movies. But saying a masterpiece is a 3? I don't know where you get to a 3 on that. You know, what's a 3 out of 10 horror movie? I'm telling you. I saw When a Stranger Calls in theaters. in the year 2006. It was a good gulp, actually. That's a 3 out of 10 horror movie. It's bad. And I'm telling you, I use every part of the scale. I'm hitting all the notes on the xylophone. 3 is terrible, but it's not a 2, and it's not a 1, at least in my opinion. What's a 2? Alone in the Dark. What's a 1? Troll 2. Troll 2! At least Troll 2, though. It does have some redeeming value as so bad it's good. Guys, anytime you gotta go, like, as far as I'm concerned, you just become your own personal, like, Armand White. As soon as you say, like, much beloved movie that, like, most people agree is pretty good, as soon as you go, it's a 3, I think you think that it makes you look smart, but I actually think that it just, you know, you're just smart enough to realize that for some people, the shorthand, yo, are we guppy? Yes. The shorthand to seeming like an authority is to disagree with other authorities. I don't believe that. I got this one critic. You guys are gonna love him. His name is Ron 10 Tomatoes. And he is infallible. Let me tell you. It all comes back, though, to some extent, to the same thing that I bring up all the time. And it's the dichotomy. You know, there's two kinds of people in the world. There's people who trust critic reviews more than user reviews. There's people who trust user reviews more than critic reviews. I do think that I'm in the minority, and I recognize that it makes me look like a snob. I prefer critic reviews to user reviews. For movies, at least. For video games, I don't know. As long as I'm enough of an authority on video games, I trust myself, and I know what I like. And as long as you have context for user reviews, you know, you're fine. As long as the dev isn't getting review bombed because they banned somebody off the Steam forum for, I don't know, whatever. You know, you get the idea. You've seen it happen before. But with movies, I trust the critics. I tend to align with the critics much more than I align with the audiences. You know why? Because I think Venom looks like garbage. That's my case study, okay? And I don't care about the Snyder Cut. Are these, they're all the familiars except Little Brim. Well, I mean, not all the familiars, but all the, like, Poke-Go style enemies. Please let me get to this switch. Thank you. Are from Mysterious Egg, right? Very solid indeed. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that road anymore. Mostly because as a YouTuber, I understand that I am a user review and not a critic's review, so I shouldn't be throwing my own under the bus. All I'm gonna say is, you know why I respect the critics more, at least for movies, it's because they use every part of the scale. Whereas when you, yes, let's try to get to boss rush. When you look at the user reviews, they're like 90% either a 10 or a 1. Two golden bombs. We're not even gonna make boss rush, so we sacrificed a lot for no value here. Please stop giving me the opportunity to make the run more interesting by going to the void. I don't want to. I told you. Okay, so this time, deal with the devil guaranteed. I mean, it's a very, very solid run. We have a ton of HP. Our DPS is fine, but it would be better if we could get a little guppy. Or, sorry, we are guppy. Disregard. It'd be better if we could get a little damage bonus. 5.66 is still a little low. But with Guppy, I mean, it's still very good. Don't take this as me complaining. Like, if I had to give this a critic's rating, I would give it like an 8 probably. If I had to give it a user rating, I mean, you got to give it a 10 because some scumbag with an avatar that offends me gave it a 1. So I got to give it a 10 just to balance it out. That's my job. User reviews are like a tug of war, man. Help me. People always assume, too, and I go down this road too often, but now that we're on it, we can't get off. People are always like, why does he always talk about Rotten Tomatoes? Doesn't he understand that Rotten Tomatoes isn't a dude named Ron 10 Tomatoes? Which is a bit that I'm definitely gonna bring back. Yeah, I know. I know it's an aggregate of critics. But here's the thing, you know, if you take 100 people, at least for me, or you take 300 people or 500 people, and you put them in a room, and you get a gauge for how they felt about a movie, I take that as a pretty good barometer for whether or not a movie's going to be likable. Yes, I understand you can have a movie at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Bumblebee is a great example. I totally understand why Bumblebee is in like the high 80s or low 90s on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a very likable movie. I don't think it's very good, but it's easy to like. You gotta have context for everything, of course. I would never suggest that instead of, you know, having the Academy Awards, you just give it to whatever movie. Best Picture is whatever movie has a 100 on Rotten Tomatoes at the end of the year, you know? Instead, I think they should keep it the way they have it right now, where, you know, studios invest all of their money into sending out screeners and for your considerations and whining and dining the Academy and so on. It's a much more meritocracy sort of situation. To just let, like, you know, 200 people that are part of a guild decide what the best movie of the year is. No, what you should actually do is just have the internet decide, and then every year Christopher Nolan can pick up his award for Best Director for Batman is Sad 4. Look, I didn't want to say it, okay? But you hit close to the bone. I really like The Dark Knight. I think it's a very good superhero movie that's also a good action movie. A great thriller, even. Now, Batman Begins, I'm lukewarm but positive on it. The Dark Knight Rises, I think it's enjoyable but kind of not that good. But I would, you know, Ron 10 Tomatoes still gave it a red tomato. So, you know, if Ron's saying it's good, he can't be wrong. I'm just saying, you know, with user reviews, there's some movies are better represented than others. Please stop trying to shoot my newfound friend to his judgment. Why are we doing this? Well, we're gonna take 9 lives, so I figured we're actually not gonna take 9 lives now that I look at it. But I thought about taking 9 lives, and I figured that would be a good time to invest. We got Succubus instead, which is also very good. Anyway, it doesn't have to be this battle. All I want is for people... There's only one circumstance in which you don't use every part of the rating scale, in my opinion. And that's when you're reviewing somebody that's part of the gig economy. I'm sorry to tell you this, okay? But if you want to be a functioning part of today's modern... This is just my opinion. If you want to be a functioning part of today's modern gig economy society... If you want to use DoorDash, if you want to use Uber, if you want to use this stuff where, you know, somebody gets paid like $3 to do a chore for you, basically, there's only 2 ratings you can give out. There's 3 ratings, actually. You can give out 5 stars. What is a 5-star in the gig economy? They did what they said they would do in a timely fashion. If it wasn't done in a timely fashion, it wasn't their fault. You can give out a 1. What is a 1? My Uber driver crashed or yelled at me. He dropped me off in the way wrong position. He drove extremely unsafely. He dropped me off in the middle of the highway, you know, stuff like that. Really, really demonstrably bad service. My DoorDash driver said he delivered the food but didn't actually deliver the food. There were bite marks out of the pizza when it arrived, you know. Stuff like that. Certainly, I would never say, you know, give him a 5-star. You know, it's a tough world out there. That's a 1-star, and people deserve to know. The other rating you can give is no rating. You give no rating when you can't, in good conscience, give a 5 because you didn't get 5-star service. But you don't want to torpedo the whole person's existence by giving them a 4, which brings... A 4 brings down everybody's average rating. I have never seen an Uber driver, and we don't even have Uber in Vancouver, but like I use it in the US when I'm there. I understand the moral quandaries, okay? It's ancillary to the bit. The bit might be problematic. We can deal with that at a later point. I have never seen an Uber rating with under a 4. It's at the point where, like, if it's a 4.3, you're like, ooh, I wonder what he did. 4.9, you're like, this guy, he's got it under control. I hate to say it, but I firmly believe it. I know, like, when it comes to movies, video games, etc., any media property, give me a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star. Doesn't matter. When it comes to, like, somebody that's part of the gig economy, are you really gonna blow up their spot by giving them a 2 just because, you know, they didn't have water in their Uber or something like that? That's, like, is unconscionable. We don't order as much delivery as we used to. Mostly because DoorDash has been kind of horrible for us lately. And consistently, like, very late on deliveries, and then service troubleshooting has been, like, really bad. Don't at me. But when even if we have, like, a bad experience, or the food arrived 20 minutes late, I'm not gonna give the driver a negative, because half the time it's gonna be the restaurant. I'll just give them a nothing. If I have a passable experience, they're getting a 5 star. They did me a favor. They got paid for it. But I don't want them to get screwed over by the algorithm just because I'm feeling vindictive on any given day. Restaurant reviews are kind of a different story, though, right? You know, I use Google reviews, Yelp, Urban Spoon, Zomato, whatever the heck they're called. Dude, we definitely want Mom's Knife here. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Goodbye, Book of the Dead. We still want Mom's Knife, even with Guppy. But with restaurant reviews, I think, you know, it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think you should be needlessly rude. You know, like, I ordered my steak medium, and it came medium rare, 2 stars. But I think you gotta be honest, because people are, you know, spending their hard-earned money on something where they have a choice. You don't have a choice when it comes to your DoorDash driver, or even your Uber driver to some extent, right? You know, you're just kind of stuck with them, and they'll be punished later. With a restaurant, you're kind of punished, you know, in the interim period, or you're punished in the moment, I mean. If I see a rating between 4 and 5, I know you're good to go. If I see a rating between 3 and 4, I go, you know, we'll take a look, but maybe it's helpful to have some context, or maybe if you're really feeling the particular food that they're selling, go pick it up. Otherwise, maybe pass for now. If I see anything under a 3, I'm like, they killed somebody in the restaurant in front of customers. It's always, you know, the average restaurant rating on Google is probably like a 4. The only exception is, like, every fast food restaurant has, like, a 1. And I'm like, well, what do you... Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I get it. Especially, like, you know, I grew up in a small town. You would go into, like, a Tim Hortons, and it's just nice, you know? There's old people having a chat with each other, and, you know, there's a bunch of dudes who all ride their motorcycles to the Tim Hortons and look at them for some reason, and it's not really my cup of tea, but they're not harming anybody. And it's clean, and, you know, the worst thing that's going to happen is you get your order wrong, you know, sometimes. And in a major city, some of these fast food places, I mean, on an objective level, they kind of deserve a 2-star, but at the same time, what do you think's going to happen? Like, there's Tim Hortons here where, like, I would rather pee in my pants than use their public bathroom. And I'm being probably like 60% sincere there. You know, if you want a story that's not embellished, you know, you might be like, he's exaggerating. There was a Tim Hortons in Vancouver where in 2018, a guy died in the Tim Hortons and nobody noticed for like 8 hours. You know why they didn't notice? Because it already smelled like urine and had a bunch of people sleeping on the tables. I'm not turning this into a social issue. I'm just saying I can understand why, especially if you're from a different part of the country. You're like from Timmins, Ontario, you're here in Vancouver on business. You're like, I'll just go to the Tim Hortons, you know, for something nice and quick. And then there's a corpse. Yeah, that's probably getting a 1 star on Google. I understand your methodology there. But at the same time, if you have ever looked at a fast food restaurant's reviews on Google, to determine whether or not you're going to eat there, you might be a cop or Elon Musk. There's only two options. Choose for yourself. Are you Elon or an officer of the law? Both respectable in their own right, but carry certain connotations. But like, okay, level with me here, okay? Don't leave any incriminating comments that could blow back on your family members, but like, between you and me, if you like own a restaurant, you're 5-star. You're 5-star in your own restaurant, right? And you're getting your kids to 5-star your own restaurant, and you're getting your spouse to 5-star your restaurant, and you're getting everybody that used to work at your job to 5-star your restaurant, right? That's why the ratings are so high, right? Because there's like, I go to some good restaurants across all ranges from $1 to $4 signs. I'm not going to say it's rare to find a good restaurant. The fact that every restaurant is over a 4. I'm just saying, there's got to be some familial vote trading going on there. I'm just saying. You know, maybe House of Dosas is like, hey, Church's Chicken on Kingsway, I'll 5 you if you 5 me. There's got to be something like that. An underground network of, you know, if you give me a thumbs up on Urban Spoon, I'll give you a 5 out of 5 on Zomato or something, right? Right? Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps the radio. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future for the next watch. I'll see you next time. See ya.